Hey, everybody. Welcome into Beer, Bourbon, and Baseball. I'm your host, Mike Kurland. You can follow me on Twitter, Mike_Kurland. As always, my co-host, Michael Simione, is joining me. You better know him as SP Streamer, at SP Streamer. And we have a very special guest, Eric Cross. He changed his name before we got on. It was Eric Hampson Cross. We'll address that soon. You can follow him on Twitter, at EricCross04. Mike, I'll ask you in a minute, but Eric, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Doing well. My Red Sox are getting annihilated every night. We had both Jose Peraza and Kevin Plawecki pitching tonight, which is great. But and it's funny too. I tweeted out like they didn't look much worse than the actual pitchers we've been throwing out there this year. So yeah, I'm doing great. Looking for a high draft pick out of the Red Sox.
That's awesome. Mike, how are you doing, buddy? You missed last week. And
I'm back, man.
When Mike is away, the boys will play. If anybody watched last week's episode, we ran 2 hours long. Maddie Wood, Dockin, and myself. Eric, you can imagine how that went.
Oh, yeah. Dockin's my boy. That's my boy.
So you mixed the three of us together. It was a legitimate party. But we're going to rein it back in a little bit. And before we get started, let's talk about what we're drinking tonight. Eric, you're our guest. What do you have tonight with you?
So I'm not a huge bourbon guy. So I got to go with the local beer here. And Portland, Maine is one of the top craft beer scenes in the entire world. This is an Allagash White. It's a Belgian-style wheat beer. It's very smooth, good flavor to it. Brewed right in Portland, Maine, right about 20 minutes from my house. One of my favorites.
Nice. What about you, Mike? You took a week. You took a week off.
Yeah, I'm actually just finished the bottle. I may have to turn into another one after this, but I got Pikesville Straight Rye. It's 110 proof. It's pretty strong, so that's good. I haven't even tasted it yet, so I couldn't even tell you. Well, I don't remember from the last time I had it.
What I do is every week I go out and look for a beer I haven't tried yet, which is a lot of them. And this week it just caught my eye. It's called High Stepper IPA, and it comes with instructions of pick me up and put me down. It's a beer for dummies. So before we get started, we'll do our cheers.
Even though
across the country, we're in 3 corners of the country or 2 corners of the country. You guys are right by each other. I'm gonna do the.
Where are you at, Mike?
I'm in New York.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, wow. This is really fantastic. I think all beer is fantastic these days. But anyway, I wasn't even a beer guy before the show. Now I definitely am. We're going to start with our usual game of shot in the dark. Mike, do you want to go? You know what?
Where Kurland always loses.
Yes, I'm terrible. So I need to get a beer ready to chug. That's what I do. Because if I lose, I chug. If he loses, he takes a shot. But the way this works, for those who might not know how this game works or new to the show, it's a trivia game. We're going to bring up a player. I'm going to give Mike 5 clues about this player, one at a time. After each clue, he gets a chance to guess. You have a chance to guess at home if you're watching. If you guess before he does, or if Eric guesses before Mike does, he has to take a shot. If not, like I said, we go on for 5 picks, and if he doesn't guess at all, he still has to take a shot. So it's really a win-win, and it works reverse ways. I do it for a pitcher for Mike because he's a pitching guy. Me being the hitting guy, he does a hitter for me. We're using 2020 stats, which are crazy short samples, small samples, and crazy inflated. So I already poured my beer out ready to go. With that said, Mike, I'm going to start.
All right. Real quick before you go, Darvish throwing a no-hitter through 5 right now.
Well, you know what? I'm not exaggerating. I watched was it the year he got TJ for the Rangers? He went 8 2/3 of like a perfect game or a no-no. And I watched the hit up the middle. And I think it was like the game after that. I was actually drafting like a home league during that game. And yeah, that's all I think about when I think of no and Darvish. I think, well, here comes TJ. Like that's what's in my head. So I got 4.5 clues for you. We're gonna see how this works.
It's supposed to be 5, but all right.
I said 4.5. We're gonna round up. So of qualified pitchers, and I say qualified because I pressed the qualified button on Fantrax when I did this.
Okay.
Of qualified pitchers, he has the highest ground ball rate in the majors right now.
Bieber.
No, it wouldn't be that obvious. Come on now, and you guess before you even give you. Now Eric can guess stuff like that, but no one's
thinking that because his curveball right now is something stupid. It's like a 70 or 80% ground ball rate. It's like absurd. Well, so that's what I figured it was him.
And let me remind people, if you want to comment, if you want to get in on this, you want to ask your questions, you have to log in via Periscope. You can watch on Twitter and all that, but it's through Periscope. log in. We see your questions. We bring them up. We answer them live, and as well, or on YouTube, you can ask them. We get those questions as well. So that's just a reminder. But since no one else has chimed in on the chat yet, usually we have a few people guessing by now. But Eric, do you have any guesses for this first one? Remember, it is of qualified pitchers. So and he's a starter. I'll give you that. So there's your 0.5. He's a starting pitcher, and his ground ball rate is the highest in the major leagues right now of qualified pitchers.
Be way off. Mike Minor. I know that's off.
No, but you know what? It's sad that like Mike Minor's way closer, in my opinion, to this guy than Bieber.
All right,
but yeah.
Next
clue. He has the 11th highest strand rate among qualified hitters, so it's not really much of a help. So basically, he gets a lot of ground balls and he strands a lot of hitters right now.
He's on the level of Mike Minor. You said.
Well,
in the ballpark.
That might be generous. I don't know. It's
geez. I don't know who it is then.
I know. So I'm giving you way too many clues.
You really haven't given any like. Trying to think who was high last year, maybe. Adrian Hauser.
No, Hauser was I think number 2 in ground ball rate though.
Close.
So yeah, but it definitely wasn't him. It's not him. Eric, this guy, this guy's obscure. Here's another clue. He's obscure. I'm making a guess. Well, see, here's the problem. I have a hard time with the clues getting easier and harder because my next clue is not much easier. So I'll let Eric get it. I'll let Eric get a guess.
Kurland only gives hard clues.
Oh yeah,
Martin Perez.
You were just hoping that it's some obscure. When it's obscure, I didn't mean a bad pitcher on a bad team right now.
Hey now, that's true though.
Hey now, it's true. Of qualified hitters. Of qualified pitchers. He has the 9th worst K- walk rate of 7.9%. So he's not he's not striking out much.
There are some people who have like negative right now.
I said qualified. I looked it up. He had the 9th worst. I mean, I'll double check right now as we because I'm good at doing that.
Zach Davies.
No, but that would have been actually a really good question. A really good one there. Dobnak. He got it.
Oh, Clegg, you bastard. Why'd you come in here?
Randy Dobnak.
Oh, Clegg.
So Dobnak right now, it's crazy. And it's funny because I wrote 5 clues here and I didn't actually write his name. I'm glad he said it because I probably would have forgot about it. But I'm really bad for him. But yeah, it was Randy Dobnak. It blew my mind when I saw that he has such a high strand rate, such a high ground ball rate. BABIP is also a little low, but I mean he's obviously going to regress. But when I saw that 14.5% K rate, I was like, ugh. And then the walk rate, I was like, okay, that's not bad. But then 7.9% K- walk, I was like, no one's going to guess this. But of course, hey, somebody did. It wasn't you. That's all I care about. You're not tequila man. So why do you do shots of tequila?
That's all I have. I'm not going to waste my bourbon with a shot. So,
right. And just a reminder for those who are still tuning in. We are going to talk rookies and call-ups, and I should mention what we're going to talk about at the beginning of the show, so people do stay tuned in case they're just thinking it's a drinking game show.
Might be the worst part ever.
You might have put me and you might have given me this responsibility, you idiot. But anyway, Eric.
All right.
Oh no, Mike. Just sorry. I was going to Eric. I don't know what I was going to say to Eric. Go ahead, Mike.
So this is obviously a hitter. All right. First clue. He's hitting .970 WOBA against breaking balls at the bottom of the zone.
Yes, you think I'm bad?
It starts off hard. It starts
hitting
off
9.
hard.
So
It might get easier, unlike yours.
His WOBA is 970 on breakers, bottom of the zone.
Yes.
Breaking balls, bottom of the zone. Matt Olson
annihilating that. No, Matt Olson sucks.
It wasn't Alonso.
Yes, it's not Pete.
You don't know.
Yeah, I just.
I don't know. Is it Tatis?
No.
Yeah, it's hard.
Right.
Mike will give you obvious answers, but not obvious ones. It's crazy.
All right, next one. He's top 1% of the league in barrel percentage.
Top 1%?
Yeah.
I was just looking at barrel rate too, not too long ago. Is it top 1%? Man, there's a name that's escaping me because I feel like he's one of my breakdowns, but probably not. All right, I'm gonna go off the cuff here and say Brandon Lau.
Nope.
Because he's been crushing.
He has. Go ahead. Dansby Swanson.
No. All right. So let's reiterate. So 970 WOBA against breaking balls at the bottom of the zone, top 1% of the league in barrel percentage. He has an XBA over 400 on fastballs, breaking balls, and off-speed pitches.
Oh my god! I know. I looked at this guy.
Combined or individually?
Individually, each.
Okay.
He's crushing everything.
Literally, yeah. He's just.
It's the barrel rate, and it's throwing me off. I'm going to say Solano, but I think I'm wrong.
No.
Okay, that was
a good guess.
That was my guess.
That's the one that really, because I've been looking up a lot of players lately, and there's like a lot of hitters that are just showing off, and he's one of them.
Is it Austin Slater?
Nope.
Something tells me it's the same team, just a guy who hasn't guessed yet.
Fourth clue. He's 26 and plays shortstop.
Oh, 26. Oh, Corey Seager.
Yep.
Take another shot, Mike.
No, you just
insanely easier.
Yeah, that made it way too easy. You said 26.
I probably shouldn't have mentioned the age. I should have just said he plays shortstop.
And he plays shortstop in the NL or something.
I was gonna say next was plays in the NL.
Oh yeah, you said 26. Yaz was gonna. Yeah, these guys are all saying Yaz.
That's pretty nuts though. I didn't know he was that high in barrel.
Yaz was gonna be my next guess until you said 26 and shortstop, and I was like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah, Yaz is like 29.
Yeah, he's like 29 or 30, and I'm waiting for him to get traded because it looks like he had that late career breakout, and I'm kind of buying in. But all right, so now we can get to the content. That was fun. I always enjoy the trivia. It's my first win, Mike. My first win with Eric here, which I always, when it comes to Eric, I always win against Eric in life on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
He wishes, but I'm your good luck charm for this game.
Oh, is that what that is? Yeah, you know what it is? Is that when we sat next to each other back in First Pitch, Florida, you rubbed off on me, and I've had your luck ever since. That's what it is.
There you go.
But in all seriousness, people have come to know our antics on Twitter. Eric, you and I kind of go back and forth. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of fun. I was like, obviously at the beginning of the season, Hampson was a big pile of, you can finish the sentence there. Since then, he's let off like 7 straight. He's hitting everything and looking great. So I won for a little bit. You get the victory lap now, but who really gets the victory lap? Because we both, in the same comment, recommended dropping him right before he started getting lead off. This is why I hate the short season. Because in a typical season, I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't have recommended dropping him. I would have said just hold tight and see what's going on. But I guess this is kind of like, how are you reacting? Are you kind of like a quick trigger? Are you more of a quick trigger type of guy right now? Or are you still being patient? I know Mike and I kind of differ. I've been very quick to pull the trigger. I dropped Paxton before the last good start he had, which I still didn't start him in leagues I had him because I wasn't trusting him. But that's a long-winded way of saying, how have you adapted to the short season so far?
Yeah, no, I'm more on the quick trigger right now because you kind of have to be. You can't let these guys struggle for too long because 10 games is, a sixth of the season instead of, a 10th of the season. So with Hampson, I'm just glad that he's finally getting the consistent playing time. It's kind of hard to get any momentum when you're starting, 2-3 times a week, start on Monday, start again on Thursday. So I'm finally glad that they actually realize that he is the best leadoff option in their entire organization, in my opinion, with his context, skills, OBP skills and speed. It's finally given him a chance to run with it, and even hitting his righties, which is something you pointed out in your lineup takeaways I saw. So I'm just glad he's in there against lefties and righties now.
He was platooning up until randomly 3 days ago. They had a run of like 4 straight lefties or 3 straight lefties, which was crazy. And then when a righty came out, it was like one of those, all right, let's wait and see. And they kept him leading off. It was like, wow, okay, cool. So I went from being really right to being really wrong, which can happen like that this season. Yep. Mike, why have you been more likely to you've been more patient than I have? Like as much as we talk.
It just depends on the player and where you took them. I mean, if it's someone that you took late or you added in the beginning of the year or something, like I have no problem with it. But if it's an early draft pick that you already put, like capital into, I would rather just still wait a little bit. So I mean, we're already seeing how quick things change. Like Kurland was taking a victory lap over DeSclafani. Look what happened.
I was waiting for it.
I'm taking a shot. So now, and now his numbers look terrible. Or even Chatwood. Chatwood started off ridiculous, and he had one bad start, and now he's like over a 5 ERA. So it's just like things can change so quickly. It's just frustrating. I just feel like I was talking about this. I did a pod last night with Shelly, and it's so weird because it's such a short season, and you want to look at metrics. you like really shouldn't be, but you kind of have to anyway because like it's such a short season. It's just like so like frustrating because you want to look into things, but you really can't, but you're doing it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
I think none of
this,
these stats are really technically viable yet. So
I think
like,
what we're
looking at nothing essentially, but we have to in hopes that it actually ends up meaning something because it's such a short season.
That's what I was going to get at was that's why a lot of my analysis has been geared more towards, hey, I'm seeing a change here that could lead to this. Not like hey, this is who he is because of this. It's more of a short season. This is what I'm finding early on. This is what you need to watch out for. This could delay him from getting back on track, i.e. Pete Alonso. I was really anti-Alonso coming in. He seems to be getting his swing back a little bit the last couple of games. We'll see how that goes. I mean, facing Voth and who was the other guy they faced yesterday? Anibal Sanchez. Those are that. If anything helps, that will do it. But like in all seriousness, it's like the reason why I was concerned wasn't the skill set. I believed long term he'd be fine. It was we don't have enough time for him to slump and figure it out. It's like crap or get off the pot. See, I'm using my good language tonight, and that's where my analysis has taken me. Has been more or less like looking for tangible change that might stick, or a reason behind a hot start, or a reason behind a cold start, and explain that and give that. Hey, this is why I'm buying into this hot start, but I'm not ready to say, hey, this is sustainable. But we do have a question for you, Eric. Before we go back to you anyway. What is Luis Robert's dynasty ranking ceiling? Same as Acuna with the power ceiling combo, power speed combo. I mean, sorry.
It's pretty close to Acuna. I wouldn't say quite Acuna because Acuna has better contact skills than Robert does, I believe. But yeah, when it comes to just look at power and speed, it's hard to find many that have a higher power speed ceiling than Luis Robert has. He has 30 to 35 homer pop. He has the speed. He's one of the fastest guys in the game at any level, so he could be a 40-plus steal guy. But it's all going to be about how much contact he makes, the approach. I was looking at some of his numbers here since you had him on the rundown here, and his issues that were in the minor leagues, even though he hit like 332 last year, they are very apparent right now. We're a 48.90 swing and a 25.7 swing strike rate, and his contact's only 58.4%. So there's still, even though he's very exciting to watch, he hits the ball hard. I think he'd be one of those guys that can survive with a higher BABIP just because of how hard he hits the ball and that speed. But he's going to have to improve that plate approach and not stop chasing so much. So if he can at least hit just like 270, which I think is possible with an adjustment, he could be a top 5 dynasty asset. You factor in 25, 30 plus home runs, 40 steals or so. Yeah, this guy could be a top 5 player pretty soon.
And yeah, that was actually his next question from Nate Endress is in other words, how high can he rise? So you just kind of answered that. And I just, of course, for fun, because I was like, again, this is one of those roller coaster rides. Because I was really like, oh man, I'm really wrong on Robert. He started off hot. He was hitting the ball like crazy. He was getting on base. He was doing everything, stealing bases, everything we all thought he would do or would hope he would do. Again, another guy I faded coming into the year. And then since then, I just looked back at the last 10 days. He's batting 143, 182, 238 with a 31.8% K rate over the last 10 days. So, like, he's kind of showing the ups and downs that come with a rookie, that come with a guy who's so raw and, like you said, just has the inability to hit breaking pitches. At least not, I shouldn't say inability, but he's still learning. He's still growing into that part, the whole recognizing movement and all that on the pitches. So, all in all, I'm not feeling too bad about this, but I am loving the new feature of StatCast data because I'm seeing exit velocity on here, which wasn't here like the other day. Mm-hmm. So I'm really enjoying this. Fangraphs, shout out to you. Speaking of Fangraphs,
oh my God, pretty awesome.
I can't believe I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. You weren't here last week, Mike, or it just happened. But Mike, part of the Fangraphs team, it's a huge accomplishment, honestly. Congratulations, man. How's it feel? You got an ovation. It wasn't standing.
I still don't even I don't know.
I blew
my mind. But yeah, it was weird. I took like a screenshot on my phone.
Well, yeah, naturally.
That's why I see it forever.
It's crazy.
And I was like joking with my friends too. I was like, I just want one post. I was like, when my post was out there, I was like, all right, I don't care anymore. I was like, I'm just gonna retire.
Can you? Yeah, go ahead and delete your account. I'll take your followers. Yeah. Everybody follow me at Mike_Kurland and unfollow SP Streamer. Okay. But in all seriousness, so again, we're gonna talk about more rookies. You kind of talk about Robert there, so we can kind of just transition to a couple names on this list. And my love for Kyle Lewis knows no bounds, and it's been well documented. But I'm fully aware of how unrealistic his current production is gonna as far as continuing. But he has the pedigree. He is a former first-round pick. What are your thoughts on Kyle Lewis in the short term and long term, Eric?
Yeah, so with Lewis, I'm a believer in Lewis. Obviously, like you mentioned, not at this level, but the power is legit. I always thought, even when he came out of Mercer, that this was a 30-plus homer bat. He had that devastating knee injury, which really derailed his career for better part of 2 seasons or so. So didn't really get his footing back till about last year when he came up. And that power's legit. Does strike out a bit much, not crazy levels, but he's at 27.4% this year. I mean, that's not great, but not too terrible either. He's been walking a little bit more. I like that, 10.7%. But really, the power is going to be most of his value. I think he can hit okay, have an okay average. I don't think he'll ever hit like 300, but 260 to 280 in that general ballpark. Unfortunately, that speed aspect is probably gone. He might add a handful of steals a year, but he was probably a 10 to 15 steal guy when he came in. Average, slightly above average speed, but that knee injury just kind of killed that. But
what MLB player would you relate him to, Eric?
That's a good question. I think best case scenarios, maybe like Castellanos. Maybe that's probably what you're hoping for at peak.
Yeah,
but it's
the
kind of in that
batting average would be the issue there.
Right. Yeah, it'd be a little lower on the batting average, but similar power, a little bit lower on the batting average.
All right, yeah, because you look at him. I don't know if you saw. I did actually find that he was one of the bigger swing changes as far as the most notable from last year to this year. He's more upright. He's actually making way better contact, but he's been hitting just as many ground balls. Unfortunately, he's a guy that last year 51% ground ball rate, this year 46. But the line drives have really gone up, so that can help sustain that batting average floor a little bit. So maybe he's sacrificing a little bit of power for some more all around game, and he's not pulling the ball as much. I mean, his pull rate wasn't high that last year; it was only 30.2%. So, and this year it's only 26.9%, hitting it mostly up the middle. I'm almost wondering if, with this, with the swing and miss in his game, with not hitting a ton of fly balls, and the line drive rate being kind of his bread and butter right now, this kind of reminds me of a Domingo Santana. As far as that's the comp that came to mind with him, as far as somebody who's going to strike out a lot, but can be, and like you said, the sneaky little bit of steals he gives you. We know 10 is an upside / ceiling he could offer. He has one this year, but I think more realistically 5 to 7 in a year is probably the most you should expect at most. My point is, though, is Domingo Santana, like a good Domingo Santana, what we've seen with the Brewers is something I could see. That's kind of the comp that comes to mind.
Yeah, I like that one.
And again, we'll just keep rolling through here. But Mike, I know you're not the prospect guy by any means, Simione, but you have had a chance to see Nate Pearson this year. What are your early takeaways on him?
Yeah, I looked into him a little bit. I mean, he really just had this one bad game recently, but I mean, I noticed. So he tries to, which is smart and what you want to see him do. He tries to put his four seam at the top of the zone a lot, and when he has so far this year, he hasn't allowed a hit. But obviously, some command issues. He does leave it over the plate sometimes, which obviously leads to hits. So I feel like as long as he grabs that command back, the four seam is great. It has above average vertical movement. The slider and changeup are performing pretty well. So I think he'll be fine. I wouldn't be worried. I think this might just be, just like typical, rookie woes type of thing. But, I mean, I would definitely hold. I mean, I feel like going forward, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the strikeouts are probably going to come, but I don't know if he's really going to meet the hype, at least for this year, personally.
And Eric, we have to go back and talk about a guy you love in Kurland, so we'll get to that momentarily.
No.
Yeah, because I forgot
he is not mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah, Simeone's
he's a Mets fan. I can already tell he's a Mets fan.
So anyway, before we get to Kurland, and we have another question by Nate, I want to hear about your thoughts on Pearson early on and what you thought about him in general coming up, and if this is kind of meeting your expectations. Again, small sample, just made his debut, but ultimately, what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, kind of like what Mike said, you've had the one bad start, two pretty solid ones. That's pretty typical for a rookie. I'm not jumping ship yet just because of one bad start. with that fastball, Mike said it, how he works up in the zone. That's what I saw in my live looks last year in Double-A. But he tends to overthrow it at times. Like he can pump 102 whenever he wants to, but it's when he has that command. Like he can command it. When he tries to overthrow his fastball, it'll straighten out a little bit and then it gets hit. But yeah, he's one of the more impressive guys I've ever seen come up through as a pitcher, come up through the minors. That fastball obviously is elite when he's commanding it. The slider is absolutely filthy. It's throws it around 90 miles an hour, 80, high 80s into the low 90s with huge late break. That's easily a double plus pitch. Curve and changeup are at least solid third and fourth offerings when he's commanding them. But that's been the thing for him. Like he's shown that he can command his pitches, but not really consistently. And part of that is due to earlier on he had a couple injuries and didn't really get a chance to really start regularly until last year. And then they took the kid gloves off around July or August, finally kind of let him loose. But I'm very much in on him long term. And even this season, he's a perfect example too of the sell high for. I like to sell rookies high right about now. Like even than Kyle Lewis, like if they come up and they look pretty good, like that buzz for them is huge. Like I almost traded Joe Adell in redraft for Dansby Swanson. Which would have been great. I couldn't pull it off, but. If you can sell high on Pearson right now or a Kyle Lewis, I probably would in redraft. If you can get like an established piece that knows will give you that production. Pearson could be a top 25 starter this year. He has that type of ceiling, but is that really realistic for a rookie pitcher? Probably not.
No. Well, I didn't put him on
a short season.
Yeah, I didn't put him on the notes, but we're gonna have to do a quick. I don't know how I forgot about him. No one called me out. How I forgot to put Spencer Howard in the notes, so we're gonna have to figure that one out. But
I mean,
we have so much to get to right now.
He hasn't really played.
Yeah, but I want to get more because I actually retweeted a really good thread by HQ. Brent Hershey, I think it was from HQ, that because he's seen a lot of them, was really talking about a lot of his stuff. So I'll get your thoughts on him in a moment, Eric. But let's talk about Kelenic. While on the Mariners, which we've passed it since.
This is where I exit.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about Kelenic. Before anything, I got to give him a shout out. He made me this awesome coaster. I'm a baseball card guy. I'm a Gary Sheffield guy too.
Is that Chef? Nice.
Yeah, I'm a Marlins fan. I grew up emulating the. You saw I put the Mariners hat when we talked about Kyle Lewis, though. I bought this just because of Kyle Lewis, by the way.
I didn't even realize you switched hats.
You only had one drink. Yeah. So, Sheffield. It's a coaster he made me out with Sheffield's card in the middle because I grew up as a Sheffield fan. One of my favorite players to play. So, shout out to him as well. But regardless, let's get back to his question. Kelenic, Mike is forever gonna be watching this kid just kill his hopes and dreams as a Mets fan.
I think I actually commented on one of Cross's tweets because I felt like you kept talking about him. I said, "Can you not tweet about him again?"
I remember that. You did, yeah.
Well, now that we have him here, hey Eric, feel free to talk about him as long as you like, buddy. slow and steady.
I will
man.
hang up. Trust me.
We'll keep going. You are of no value anymore, sir.
Dude, Kelenic, dude. Kelenic is so freaking good. Like he's one of those guys where not one area of his game like really, really stands out. He doesn't have a huge power, huge speed. He's not gonna hit 330, anything like that. But everything he does is just really, really good. And he could be a 300 hitter. He could hit 25 to 30 home runs, 25 to 30 steals. It's every part of his game, on the scouting grades, I'd put all, hit tool, power, speed, all as plus. The kid just knows his swing is absolutely gorgeous. We all look at Griffey's swing as being one of the most beautiful swings ever, and I agree with that. But go look at this kid swing a bat. It's so quick. The hands are lightning quick. It's such a smooth, right direct through the zone to the ball. Nice loft. This kid's just gonna mash. Like I said, I could see a 330 season out of him at some point. When he gets 25, 26 years old, I really could. This kid, he's a pretty good outfielder too. His offense really is what people see, but he's a solid enough outfielder. I think he can stick in center field long term. He's got enough range, okay arm out there. But I am all in. Like I think I tweeted this like several months ago that he has when you combine ceiling and floor for fantasy, it might be a better combination than even Wander Franco, because Wander Franco obviously has the, robust hit tool, but he doesn't quite have the speed that Kelenic has. he might not even have the power. Power might be similar, but Kalenic is just that perfect blend of upside, floor, does everything well, doesn't hurt you in any one area. So yeah, I'm sorry, he's gonna be a stud for a long time.
So he hurts Mike in everywhere. So he's not gonna be as good as Robinson Cano, is what you're saying.
A prime Robinson Cano, maybe, not the Mets version who can't stay off the IL, which I still miss calling it the DL. Like
I still do that from time to time too. I'll be typing an article, I'll put DL, backspace IL.
Yeah, my phone has picked it up, but then my phone's also picked up. When I try to write the word up, it changes it to IP, like for innings pitched. I'm like, it could be worse. I mean, at least my phone's picking up the fact that, LHP and RHP auto correct now. It's all caps. My phone's getting it. My phone's totally getting it now.
I just got to that point with my old phone, but I had to get a new phone. So now I'm training this one.
Training
it. You need like a baseball. They didn't talk a baseball keyboard for us baseball writers.
Yeah, like especially like Acuna, like actually the other day for the first time, Acuna popped up with the Inye or like the over the end.
Total. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the first time ever. And then today I got called out on Twitter because I put Kike Hernandez without the little thing over the E. Someone called me out on that. I was like,
seriously?
I didn't. Yeah, someone's like, you should probably do that because it could hurt people. Like whatever they said, it's on the Twitter. You see it. I was like, no, I liked it because I was like, sure, that's fine. I'm not here to offend anybody.
Right.
But I might have just done it unintentionally. Regardless, we'll move on.
Right. Sometimes you just don't think of it or don't even know,
Yeah, I'm not trying. The last thing I'm trying to do is like I mispronounce names. Trust me, if someone tells me I'm wrong or explains to me how to say them, I say them right for sure moving forward. Okay, we're getting off. That's a whole other discussion. Let's talk about Vladdy. I love this discussion. Something tells me like I'm concerned about him a little bit, but maybe you can talk about this ledge. Nate's asking us, talk to me about Vladdy and Dynasty. He just paid up for him, but he's having some buyer's remorse. I could speak from what I can see. I haven't watched a lot of them in the minor leagues. Obviously, the pedigree's there, the hit tool's there. No one's questioning that. But dude, it looks like he put all that weight back that he lost during the downtime. Yeah. And then on top of that, his launch angle hasn't changed. It's still barely 6 degrees, like a little over 6 degrees. And yeah, sure, he's making a lot of contact. Good for him. It's not going to help when you're hitting the ball. It blows
my mind how early he was going in drafts.
He's
personally.
Last year
he had a solid second half. Yeah. I think people were buying into the growth they saw in the second half of last year. But the problem is he's starting off this year with last year his ground ball rate was 49.6% for the whole year. This year it's starting off at 62.5. He might be crushing the ball, but he's crushing it right into the freaking ground. Like his hard hit rate is in the 83rd percentile. He has a 50% hard hit rate. His exit velocity is top 10% in the league, and it's going straight into the freaking ground. It doesn't help at all. Like he's not. Look at him. He's not going to outrun anything.
It's because he can't swing.
it's not ideal when you're 250 pounds. If you're D. Gordon or Malk Smith, great. You put that ball on the ground and you utilize that speed. But I love you, Vladdy. But you shouldn't be trying to outrun anything.
With that said, though, is there some concern with the? Let me speak as somebody who's overweight. Like I get that. Like I'm like if I had to swing a bat and run, I probably roll faster. Like I ain't running down first base that fast. But you know why? That's going back to ground ball rate. It goes to show you why ground ball rate can help. Like if you're a faster runner, because Kyle Lewis, even with the knee injury, his sprint speed is still in the 78th percentile. So he can still get it. He can still that it'll play to the BABIP, play to his ground ball rate. His ground ball rate's still not as bad as Vladdy's right now. Vladdy's in, like I said, 62.5%. But what are your thoughts long term? Are you concerned? Do you think he'll eventually adjust? I know he's never had to have that work ethic because it's always came naturally easy to him. But he's obviously struggling. I mean, even if you look at breaking balls this year, I jumped off the page. I went back to Kyle Lewis because I got so excited to talk about Kyle Lewis again. But going back to Vladdy, last year he struggled. He had a 227 batting average against breaking pitches last year with the expected BA of 230. This year it's the same story. 235 batting average against breaking pitches. Again, let's just get that caveat out of the way. It's a small sample. We get it. I don't need you to at me on Twitter about small samples. I get it. We have the information. We're going back. There's a little track record of this. And he has an XBA of 178 this year. So obviously he's having a hard time identifying breaking pitches or at least hitting them. And he's struggling more than he should against fastballs and off speed. If you look at off speed last year, he crushed off speed pitching last year. But this year it's again, that's really small. We're talking 8 plate appearances. So there's really like nothing that he hasn't seen off speed. But regardless, I'm ranting. Give me your long term. I'm good at it. Because it's frustrating because the kid has the talent, the pedigree. He's not putting it together. But regardless,
maybe he's just not good.
Well, he's like Prince. He's like Prince Fielder without the home runs right now. That's the problem.
that's a great. That's not a good thing.
That's great.
Am I wrong though?
No, you're not. That's all Fielder did was freaking hit bombs. So if you
before the neck, poor guy.
If you're Fielder without the bombs, that's not good.
That's what he is though.
That's true.
But regardless, are you worried about him long term, or am I just like am I like blowing it up out of proportion right now?
I'm a little worried. I think regardless, I think it was going to be really tough for Vlad to meet expectations just because Hall of Fame father, one of the best hitters, right-handed bats of all time. The hype on him, he might be the most hyped up prospect to ever come through the minor leagues, right?
Yeah.
Wander Franco's actually approaching that level right now. But, maybe it's like Vlad, Harper, and like Wander Franco. Even Mike Trout didn't get like this level of buzz, But you mentioned that he's hitting everything into the ground, and you saw what he could do. Like, go back and watch video of that damn home run derby last year when he was hitting 500-foot missiles. Obviously it's a home run derby, it's batting practice pitches. I get it, but this is a guy that I saw the launch angle be fine in AA. I saw him crank, sit back on a curveball and crank at the opposite field, for off the wall. So I've seen him do all these things that he needs to do. It's just that obviously he's facing much better pitching in the major leagues than he is in the AA Eastern League, obviously. But, he's going to, with him, obviously you're not getting any speed, so he's going to have to hit for high average. He's going to have to hit bombs. Like for him to meet expectations right now and be worth what his cost is in Dynasty, he's going to have to hit like 300 plus with 40 bombs. And he's not there. He needs to get that launch. And you mentioned he's still hitting the ball really hard, but he needs to get that launch angle up. And I've seen him do that. So I still have confidence that he can do so, but man, it's getting a little to the point where I'm starting to be concerned for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of concerning, long term, I'm worried about this guy. But somebody had a trade question. They flipped Dansby Swanson for Jordan Alvarez in a 12-team head-to-head points league. That's absolutely the right move. That was from Toronto away. Absolutely the right move. Swanson, not only was he overachieving a little bit, but he's striking out a ton. He's starting to come back down to earth. And strikeouts are usually -1 in most leagues, or at least -0.5 in most points leagues. So, you pretty much sold high, which is great because Alvarez should be back probably by the end of next week at this point, at the very latest. He sounds like he's progressing. I'd say he should be back at least by probably maybe even the beginning of next week, which we can talk about Kyle Tucker, how he's going to be the one bumped out of that lineup.
He will be.
Unfortunately.
No, I had a dream the other night that Dusty messed with Jordan's playing time. He was only playing Jordan like 3 games a week. It's a nightmare. He'll get the the occasional day off just because they're easing him back. But yeah, if Dusty messes with Jordan's playing time more than that, I'm on a flight to Houston. I'm ready to smash some skulls in there.
Well, here's my concern about Alvarez long term. The dude is like 22, 23. I think he's like 23. And he played the field for like 2 games in the spring and his knees couldn't handle it. And he missed like 2 weeks. He was supposed to be day-to-day and ended up missing like a week and a half or 2 weeks with bad knees at 23 years old with a pretty long like list of injuries in the minors even. That's concerning. I mean, you're talking this guy has to be able to DH the rest of his career, it sounds like, or play first base at best. I'm just like, would you even say in Dynasty, maybe you're better off selling high? Just that, although you could be giving up 5 good years, 6 good years of that bat, you're assuming that there's no setbacks to those knees at all. Right.
No, that's a good point because having knee injuries already, and this isn't like it's not just been one knee injury, it's been a few. At this age, it's concerning. So you wonder if he's ever going to play the field, or you got to have just a utility only guy. Houston doesn't need to really play him in the field. They have plenty of options. They probably always will. They always have those Josh Reddick types. So you don't need to play outfield. Kyle Tucker, maybe he put him at first base like you mentioned, but he's kind of like Vlad, where obviously there's no speed there either. So he's going to have to hit. I've seen him, put as a top 20 dynasty, and I put him myself as a top 20 dynasty thing, and I thought that was accurate at the time. I moved him that a little bit right now. I think he's in the low 20s now, but he's going to have to hit for really high average and a lot of power. He's have to be basically JD Martinez. Can he be that? Absolutely could be that. But I wouldn't be banking on it. And if you can get that top 20, if you can flip him for like, Bo Bichette or something like that, a guy that I feel more confident in sustaining that high level of, performance, I would probably do so.
I mean, we see like you want to talk about a big power tool that might play. Don't get me wrong, we're seeing great success in like Nelson Cruz, but when you think of like a big guy having knee problems, you think of Stanton instantly. Stanton comes to mind right away. And sure, Stanton was great when he was healthy, But you're hoping again. You don't have to, and I'm seeing the comments blow up about him. Like, where is it? He doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to stand.
Like, how the heck is this guy gonna hit when he can't stand in left field for a week? And of course, people are saying he doesn't have to stand in left field. I get that. Like, trust me, the argument is valid, but he has to run the bases. And when you run the bases, like that we've seen again, we saw Stanton get hurt running the bases. He wasn't playing the field. Difference in ages, I get that. Difference in wear and tear, I understand that. But it's just one of those things that maybe there's some recency bias. I'm not just selling for pennies. I'm not even trying to sell for a discount. But if you have somebody willing to pay full price for him, I'm willing to get from under the headache. That's what it is.
And someone just said Yordong is on Soto level. Chill out.
No chance.
No, chill out.
Soto plays the field. That already went up some. He's guaranteed playing time that way.
Soto is an MVP within the next 3 years.
Did you see that crazy tweet today? It was like he has 60 home runs, but he's younger than 60 people on top prospects or something, or 40. I don't remember what it was.
He's still only 28. I think he'll be 22 in like October or something like that. So.
You know, it's just 22. I think we all knows by now is Gleyber Torres, and he's trash. But anyway.
It was Soto hit his 61st MLB home run today, and Juan Soto is younger than 61 players on the top 100 prospects list.
Love it.
That's ridiculous.
Where are all those? Torres is 23. I was really wrong.
Where's that dude that was just like totally trolling me last year? Oh, Gleyber is much better than Soto. He has been. I have not heard from him since. I haven't seen him in my Twitter feed this season. That's for sure.
And honestly, none of us are doubting Gleyber as far as the talent goes. We were just doubting him sustaining whatever the hell he did last year. That was the happy fun ball. This ball doesn't look the same, although the ball started taking off again, so we don't know what's going on. And again, they're still talking about like your dong. I guess that's a good name for him. Is 350 dong. Yeah, like
your dong.
yeah. It's honestly, that's probably his peak season. A 300 batting average with 50 home runs. I get that. That's not really. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But realistically, sure, it could in theory. But I don't know, man. I'm just more worried about the knees than anything long term. Again, not selling for nothing. You have to get what he's worth. All right, I think that's. I'm just trying to get through these questions here, trying to make sure we touch on everything. Did you see what he gave up for Vlad? By the way, he traded Adele, Abrams, and Nick Gonzalez for Vlad. Oh,
that's
L. He put L. He wrote L. Yeah. So L. L.
If those three guys meet their ceilings, that's an L.
Yeah, and Adele, are you concerned with Adele at all? Because the dude's just swinging and missing it like a lot of stuff, which is kind of.
He was doing that last year. He's like Robert. He's far from a finished product. He's obviously, you watch batting practice, and I saw him out at the AFL. It was him and Julio Rodriguez were the two, most put on the best batting practice displays. He's got huge raw power to all fields. He's a 40 home run bat in the making, but the approach with him, it's still a little raw, not quite as raw as Luis Robert, but it doesn't walk a ton, chases a little bit too much. But you saw it was a post game like Zoom video with him, and reporters asking him question. This kid, he's a very smart player. He has his head on straight. He knows what he needs to do to get better. And he knows what he's struggling at. So I still have confidence in him. I don't think he's going to be, a MVP or anything like that. So I think, the average probably 270, 280. He could if he runs as much as he has. He has 30 steel wheels, just if he wants to run that much. But, I'm still very in on Adele. But this year, I definitely, that's why I thought Lux was a better play than him this year. Says Lux is safer, even though he hasn't been starting, obviously. But Adele is just like Robert, it's the ups and downs, peaks and the huge peaks, huge valleys. He'll go on a stretch like next week where he'll probably hit like 4 home runs in 5 games, something like that. But then he'll go on another one of these 2 for 20 stretches. So it's just when you have this type of approach, you're gonna get exposed to major league pitching. That's what's happening.
By the way, real quick, Darvish just lost his no hitter.
How far
to a Justin Smoke home run in the 7th.
It's always some like not good player. Like,
yeah.
Like Mike Trout busting up no hitters. It's like Justin Smoke. It's
Eric Sogard.
Guys that hit an 8th in the order.
Yeah.
Well, these days the 8-hole hitter is actually not always bad. Like the way I've seen some of these teams treat the bottom of their lineup, you're wishing like why is Victor Robles? Maybe that's why Victor Robles is struggling. The guy doesn't get an opportunity to hit higher. His confidence is shot. He's like, what the hell is this? What did I do to deserve this?
Right.
Now you've earned it. But before that, maybe you didn't. But sorry. And people are still talking about you don't have to play the field in fantasy. We get that. I'm not trying to say you have to, but I was talking about running the bases. You have to do that regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's again, it's just one of those small concerns I have. Again, going back to, and we're talking about Jordan Alvarez. I keep messing up his name, and he just same guy commented Carlson's about to destroy Adele. I love Carlson. That goes back to last year. He was a guy that I felt like happy to find on a lot of my leagues before he blew up because he kind of came out of nowhere. I think going back to Kalenic, I feel like Carlson's like a floor type of player without that ceiling, though. The solid, steady 15-15, maybe 20-20, 270 to 280 type. Is that kind of vibe you have with him too, Cross?
I'd say a little more power. I think people think he's going to be a 20-plus steal guy because what he showed last year, he had 20 steals in 125 games. But I think more long-term, he's more of like a, I think, 10 to 15 steal guy. Could be, approaching 30. I think he has some 30 home run seasons in him. Maybe like, high 20s, low 30s. 12 to 15 steals in that range. I think you're right on with the average, 270, 280. His ceiling isn't as high as Adele, but I would feel safer about Carlson this year because the approach is a lot better. He's more advanced. He walks more. He strikes out less. Not as many pitch recognition issues with Carlson. So I would feel safer about rostering him this year, even though I'd still say the upside with Adele is higher. And
what do you think about Alec Boehm? He made his first career start tonight. I know he got a double in his first at bat, and I didn't really see what happened after that. But the hit tool has kind of always has been said to be ready. It's always been his fielding, but I think actually it was his glove this time. Like this is a true case of the glove being an issue. What are your thoughts on Alec Boehm? I mean, he went 1 for 4 tonight, by the way, with a double and a K. But yeah, what are your thoughts on him?
I like Boehm. He's one of those sneaky good players that kind of goes under the radar, even though he's considered a top prospect. But coming out of the 2018 draft, where he was the number 3 pick, I think it was, at Wichita State, he was lauded as one of the most advanced bats in that class, maybe the most advanced bat. I know there was Nick Madrigal there too, but this is a guy where the hit tool is great, the approach is great. For a guy with his power, plus power, 30 home run upside there. Doesn't strike out much at all. Walks a fair amount. Going to be a solid, 370, 380 OBP guy. Average probably 280, 290. Maybe even flirt with some 300 seasons in that range. Obviously, no speed. This guy's very, very slow. I saw him out of the box out in the AFL, and it was like I could win a foot race with Alec Boehm. But the at the plate is obviously where his values are be, not on the bases. And this guy is he's not going to be a stud. Like he's not a Jordan in the making, but like I said, 280, 290, 30 bombs, good OBP, maybe a guy that sells in like a top 50 fantasy player at peak. I think that's realistic for him. Whether that's a third or first DH, who knows? Like I said, the defense, he's a decent arm, but defense footwork over at third isn't great. So I think probably first base long term, if I had to guess where he ends up. But his bat will play at either spot.
All right. Quick plug to Mike. Dude, great call on Peterson streamer. Should have listened to you. This is the _
Thanks,
he's been in our comments all night, loving it. Mike, even I listened to you on that one, buddy. I streamed them too.
I was so nervous for that.
To be completely honest, you're killing it. People that don't know,
I had no faith in that pick.
If people are listening, don't know.
I said it though. I put it in my article. I was like, "Do not stream today."
Yeah, but you getting that strikeout rate up, Mike? How's that K rate doing?
Yeah. No, I'm at like a K per 9. I'm like a strikeout per inning.
That's actually pretty good.
Pretty good though for streamers, I gotta say.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna plug your work, Mike, because you've been doing great. You deserve all the credit you're getting. Don't worry though, when you go through a bad run, you'll hear it all the same.
I'll hear it. Trust me, it's brutal. When you're doing good, no one says anything. When you're doing bad, everybody says everything. So.
Oh yeah, that's how it works, dude.
And it's gonna happen. I'm telling you. Like you're streaming, streamers. So like someone's gonna blow up. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, Vince Velasquez will happen again, and you'll never pick him again. But that type of production will come.
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes here. Let's get through some of these names. I don't even know, why do you hate Dustin May? I guess I have to ask you that.
Oh god. Yeah.
Before you go into the dynasty aspect, actually, Mike, have you looked into him at all? And what are your thoughts on him early in the season?
Yeah, so you know what it is? I'm kind of with Eric on this. So,
well, if you're with him, I'm going to tell Eric to talk. I was going to let you kind of talk about the.
Why do you hate Dustin May?
So, why do you hate Dustin May?
No, you know, it is not that I hate him. I mean, I feel like he just gets the hype because of the one pitch that looks absolutely ridiculous.
It's a backward slider,
and it's an amazing pitch. But when you really look at him, I don't see really anything else. I mean, and the Ks aren't coming, and the K rate isn't, I think his K rate is going to drop even more. So I just think as of right now, he's limited really to one pitch, and I don't think, and without any strikeouts, yeah, I guess the ratios will probably be there in the end, but what does that really, how does that really separate him from someone like Dobnak right now?
Well, we talked about Dobnak already. Like, do you really want to go that route again? I mean, gosh, but yeah. Okay, so back to Eric. Why do you hate Dustin May as well, and why are we selling high on him? So is this specifically in Dynasty, or you mean in general?
In general, really, because I just traded. You'll like this, Mike. I think this is a player you like. Just in the redraft league, Roto, I traded Dustin May for Josh Bell about a couple days ago.
That wasn't me. I liked Bell a lot last year. Oh, Simione, you mean?
Me? I thought you were a big Bell guy. Aren't you a big Bell guy?
Kurland? Me?
Oh, I was last year.
Oh, Kurland.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Last year I was. This year I was off of him because I just wasn't. I was like, I think what it was is I kept getting a lot of Jose Abreu falling around before him. I kept just getting a bunch of Jose Abreu compared to Josh Bell. Josh Bell kept going in that weird area where I just always needed something else. So I wasn't necessarily off of Bell this year. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I was in on him last year, but right now Bell, I don't even know. I haven't even looked at him. I don't own a single share. I don't think I haven't looked at anything he's done. Has he done anything this year?
No, not really. And I'm
that was a buy low then.
I'm not even a Bell guy either. But yeah, for Dustin May, obviously the hype is there right now because of what you see from Rob Freeman and everyone else on Twitter posting these overlays of his two-seamer and his cutter, two-seamer and his curve. That's great and all. It's fun to look at. I love watching him uncork a 99-mile-an-hour two-seamer with 20 inches of horizontal movement. You got to love that. If you're a baseball,
amazing.
You got to love that. It's what makes one of the many reasons why I love this game. But in terms of for fantasy, like I said, the Ks aren't there because just in general, while you can make Manny Machado look foolish on it, and you can get a lot of clicks on Twitter, it's not a big swing and miss offering. Like you look at his whiff rate on the two-seamer and his on a very small sample size. I think he's already pitched 60 innings probably, but it's only 13%. And that's a pitch he throws right around 52% of the time in his career. So if you have a pitch thrown over half the time that only has that type of whiff rate, you're not gonna get a lot of strikeouts. I think he could tick up the strikeout rate because he has a pretty good curveball, but he only throws it 10% of the time. So it's got good movement on it. So I think if he up that usage to just 15 to 20%, I think he could get up over a K per inning. But he hasn't shown that he wants to do that. He wants to rely on that two-seamer and the cutter for 90% of his offering. Doesn't have a changeup. He throws he's thrown 3 this year. He doesn't have a changeup. If he developed the changeup, even an average one, I think that'd be a huge boon to Dustin May. So I think he's, like I mentioned in my article, he's a guy I think is going to be a very good pitcher for a very long time. Maybe in the Kyle Hendricks mold where he's just got low ratios, K rate is okay, not great, but that keeps him out of that elite tier with the Biebers, and the Scherzers and all of them. But yeah, it's that strikeout rate. It's only 22% for his career, which is solid, but it's not, it's not going to put you in the elite territory.
And we had 2 questions. One from Brent: is Dustin May a Dylan Bundy type? And then no. All right, we'll skip that. We'll you can jump in on that if you want more. But then we have May is what I feel like Sixto is going to be, which I'll be happy with. Should be far more Ks with that stuff.
Yeah, Sixto is kind of the same way. You look at their minor league numbers, and they're pretty similar. Where they pretty solid ratios, but the K rate has not been there. And Sixto has great stuff. It's just he's the one that should be missing more bats than he is. But yeah, as of right now, we'll see if he can start missing more bats of that when he gets up to the Marlins, which I think should be this year, maybe. He could just be another Dustin May type where he's just a good number 2 for a very long time, a guy that you can rely on to be a number 2, number 3 guy on your fantasy staff. But and you need that K rate. When do you ever see a fantasy ace with a K rate of 8? You don't.
Never.
I feel like
that's why I'm trying Soroka. Soroka's carrot's like 7.3. I love Soroka. Very good arm. And I think he's another could have a long career. And the injury sucks, but he's another one. He doesn't strike out many guys. He's a ground ball pitcher. He pitches the contact.
Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's nothing wrong with that. But if you're thinking there'd be a fantasy ace, you just can't do it with a carrot like that.
No Max Fried.
He's no Max Fried. Of course, Mike has to do it. So again, we have about 5 minutes left. Let's just run through a couple more of these names, more along lines of stashing, or guys that are being stashed right now, or guys that just aren't getting the playing time. You have a guy like Carter Kieboom. He was getting everyday playing time when Howie Kendrick left the lineup with his injury. They had those days off because of the postponed games and all that. Hendrick came back healthy, and now Kieboom is in a short side platoon or weak side platoon. Is he? I've already said drop people and I've regretted it, but I've said drop him before. I'm going to say drop him again. Where are you guys at, Mike? Are you dropping Kieboom right now in his current situation?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have him in a league, and not only that, I mean, I feel like, I haven't fully looked at his stats, but I feel like he hasn't really done much either when in the lineup.
Well, it doesn't help when you're bad at hitting twice a week.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying even when he was playing, like even when he was
hitting for good average. That's about it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I felt like he wasn't doing much. I actually just dropped him in the league. I just added someone for it. So
yeah,
but
he's a drop. Absolutely.
But in terms of dynasty, I don't see any. I have no concerns with the hit tool or anything. I think he's gonna be a solid guy. I don't think you need to worry long term, but this year he's just not having it. And then the D-backs handling of our show is going to give me gray hair. # free Dalton from hello_I am Ryan. Well, hello, I am Ryan. I am Mike, and we agree with that message. And we can move on. Gavin Lux, like no one saw this coming when he got
annoying.
sent, and he got sent down. We expected him to be up relatively soon. They're starting Chris Taylor like every day in the middle infield somewhere. Why?
I had him in like literally every league.
I had him in TGFBI. Yep. I had him. I had Puig. I had him. I had Puig. I had who else got? I lost so many pieces.
Where are you in TGFBI, Mike? Like 500? Rank 500?
I'm legitimately like there. I think there's only like 390 something entries. I'm at 377 or something. I've mailed that team in. By far my worst team. But see, it's frustrating because if you look at my like DCs and the main event I'm in first, I'm in second, I'm in fourth. But the one like industry league that's like all like industry for everybody, I'm like dead last. Like I'm mystery relevant. Welcome to TGFBI. Yeah, that's why I need to stick to analysis and not play leagues, I guess. Because I'm really good at giving advice. I promise. I've done really well, actually. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Just like how you told everyone to take DeSclafani.
Yeah, it worked out for 2 out of 3 starts. I'm sure there's something I said that you screwed up too, Mike. I got to think about it, which is everything.
Oh, who I've been wrong on? Well, I've been extremely wrong on Lamet, but I'm still standing behind it.
Yeah, that's right. But I was kind of with
coming.
You.
He's gonna crash. It's coming.
I was in on him, and then I was out because of the price. And now it's like, well, the joke's on me too. But yeah, anyway, Gavin Lux, what is going on there? Are you stashing him? Or are you just saying screw it and like moving on at this point, Eric?
In redraft, I'm saying screw it, moving on, because like you mentioned Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez. They don't have this huge need. Like Dodgers are going to make the playoffs with or without Lux. They don't need to bring him up. And you hear Dave Roberts say that Lux came into summer camp, not prepared, not in the greatest shape, not like Vlad shape, but not in the greatest shape, not ready. So that doesn't. I don't get the feel that he's back up soon. Even if he is, I don't think it's an everyday role or even close to it. They still got Chris Taylor and Hernandez, so I don't see. And they like both those guys. There's a reason why both guys have been on the Dodgers for the last like 4 or 5 years. They like them, and they're decent little players. Don't get me wrong, but for Dynasty, I'm still very much in on Lux. The hit tool is great. There's power, there's speed there. Very high floor, one of the highest floors you'll see of any prospect right now. But yeah, I am definitely 100% out on him for 2020.
What are your thoughts? Why did we hear all this hype about Mize coming up and Mize isn't here? And where the hell is Mackenzie Gore at? Can anybody answer me that, please?
You hear? I've heard rumblings that Gore could be up soon. And with the Padres and their they've shown that they are not afraid to promote aggressively. We saw that last year with Tatis and Paddock making the opening day roster. So I think Gore will be up before the end of the month.
What's the delay? Is there something? I mean, we don't have any video evidence. We don't know what's going on. Maybe he's struggling over there. We have no idea.
Right, exactly. It's hard to tell. As we say we don't have a lot of visibility into what's going on at these the alternate sites. So when Lucchese was optioned the other day, everyone's like, "Oh, Gore's coming up," but it hasn't happened yet. It still could happen. They could move Coutinho in. They could do Control. Who knows? But I still think it's by the end of August. But I'm not like really confident in that.
They should just option Lamet and then bring him up.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah, right. Corey Seager.
Yeah, Rich could get injured at any second. We
all know that. Oh yeah, 100%.
Corey Seager just hit another home run, by the way.
Oh, I'm watching.
Is Gore the unanimous number one prospect arm more because of his floor or ceiling?
Both.
Because simple enough.
That's how you could be number one pitching prospect in baseball was when you have that. He has the highest ceiling. Some are like Pearson's close, guys that are close. But the floor is just so much higher than Pearson's. And I'm not saying Pearson has a low floor by any means, but yeah, it's that combination of ceiling and floor. Where this guy, there's a decent chance that he's at least getting some Cy Young votes. He could have won a couple Cy Youngs in his career.
Gotcha. All right, and real quick before we get out of here, do we see Casey Mize? Well, two things. One, do we see Casey Mize this year? And if so, when do you think we see him?
I still do think I think he's kind of on the similar ETA as Gore, maybe later this month. But again, not when I'm like Detroit has no reason to rush.
Yeah,
Mize or Manning or Scooball. It'd be great to see all three of them up, but they have no reason to do so.
Yeah, right. But the Royals also had no reason to do anything they've done. Teams have gotten the extra year already. And Mize and Manning
that's what I don't get. Like, why not?
Mize and Manning specifically were due up at the end of this year anyway. So if they've already got the extra year, it makes no sense for them to not get a chance to come up. And a few names real quick. Any under the radar prospects you might see come up and be somewhat productive? Maybe our boy Dahlbeck. Does he come up and do something?
I think he could. I think, if Devers is out long term or if there's another slump at first base, I think he could. Dahlbeck can play both corners. He can obviously DH if they want to throw JD out in the outfield more. Not a great idea, obviously.
Maybe they trade him.
Yeah, but I would love Dahlbeck's power is in the way his swing and his frame, very much built for Fenway Park. He pulls the ball and elevates the ball. That's great for Fenway. Puts him in the monster seats off the wall. He's going to be an extra base hit machine, but I think it's going to take a little something to get him in the lineup, though.
Gotcha. And okay, one last question. This is, I promise. The_Crab_Shack_. Where is Joey Bart Simpson at? I don't think we see him this year. I mean, I've been saying that since day one.
You heard like that initial he's close, and then it's been crickets ever since. And due to that, I thought he was going to come up. I thought he was close anyways. If he didn't miss all that time last year with the two separate broken hand or wrist incidents last year in AA and then in the AFL, he'd probably be up right now. But he missed all that development time, which is not ideal, obviously. But since it's been really crickets over the last few weeks. I thought that about Joe Adell. Joe Adell was kind of crickets too, and then all of a sudden, boom, Joe Adell's up. So I wouldn't put it out of the realm possibility that we see Bart, but I'm not banking on that either.
I got you. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. We're gonna call it quits right there. Eric, thank you for joining us again. You can find Eric on Twitter at EricCross04 if you're watching. It's right there. Follow him. Eric, any work coming out soon? I know you're always busy over there at Fantrax. From experience, I get what goes on over there. You're a man of many, many talents and a man of much work. What do you have going on? What's coming out? What can we expect?
Yeah, so I just pumped out my updated top 500 dynasty rankings today. Do my waiver wire every Friday, which I'm going to finish writing right now after we get off this feed here. Then I did a pitchers to drop list last Sunday. I'm doing hitters to drop. Kind of like the Benintendi type of players that, it's time to cut them, these types of guys. So that'll probably be out on Sunday as well. So obviously a lot of dynasty and prospect work too, obviously.
Yeah, like again, you are as busy as it gets. Mike, you have your streaming stuff doing really well. Anything else in the works? I know Fangraphs, obviously a big deal. 2-star streamers, Mr. Big Deal over there.
Yeah, no, I've been doing weekly articles for Rotoballer, just their 2-star streams. And yeah, I'm going to be doing probably one article a week for Rotographs. And then obviously all my streamers every day.
Rotographs, not Fangraphs. I apologize. And again, you can find him on Twitter, SP Streamer. I'm at Mike_Kurland. You can find me just doing everything everywhere at all times. That's all I got. All right, guys. Again, as always, we appreciate listening, and we'll talk to you next time.